Napoleon Bonaparte's story begins on the Mediterranean island of Corsica in 1769. Born into a relatively modest family, Napoleon was far from the powerful ruler he would become. But even as a young boy, he was known for his fiery temperament and ambitious dreams. At just 9 years old, Napoleon left Corsica for mainland France to attend military school. His small stature and Corsican accent made him a target of bullying, but rather than breaking his spirit, it fueled his determination. Napoleon excelled in his studies, particularly in mathematics and military strategy, foreshadowing of the tactical genius he would later become. When the French Revolution erupted in 1789, Napoleon saw his chance to rise. The old world was crumbling, and in its place was a chaotic opportunity for anyone daring enough to seize it. Napoleon quickly proved himself in battle, most notably at the Siege of Toulon in 1793, where his strategic brilliance earned him a promotion to brigadier general at just 24 years old. With each victory, Napoleon's reputation grew. He was bold, ruthless, and cunning, a combination that terrified his enemies and endeared him to his men. His success in Italy, where he turned a ragtag army into a formidable force, only solidified his status as a rising star in the French military. In 1798, Napoleon embarked on an ambitious campaign to conquer Egypt. This was not just about military glory. Napoleon envisioned himself as a new Alexander the Great, creating a French empire in the East. But while the Egyptian campaign started with victories, including the famous Battle of the Pyramids, soon turned into a logistical nightmare. Napoleon's fleet was destroyed by the British at the Battle of the Nile, stranding his army in Egypt. Despite these setbacks, Napoleon's time in Egypt wasn't a complete failure. His encounters with ancient civilizations sparked his interest in history and archaeology, leading to the discovery of the Rosetta Stone, which would eventually unlock the secrets of ancient Egypt. Back in France, the political situation was dire. The government, known as the Directory, was corrupt and ineffective. Sensing an opportunity, Napoleon returned to Paris, where he orchestrated a coup d'état on November 9, 1799, known as the Coup of 18 Brumaire in the French Revolutionary calendar. In a matter of hours, Napoleon dissolved the Directory and established himself as the first consul of France, effectively making him the leader of the nation. Napoleon wasted no time consolidating his power. He presented himself as the savior of France, promising to restore order, revive the economy, and defend the gains of the revolution. For many weary of the endless turmoil, Napoleon's rise was a welcome change. Napoleon's ambitions didn't stop at being the ruler of France. In 1804, he declared himself Emperor of the French. In a lavish ceremony at Notre Dame Cathedral, Napoleon took the crown from the Pope's hands and placed it on his own head, an unmistakable symbol of his belief that his power was self-made, not granted by any divine authority. As emperor, Napoleon set out to build a dynasty. He reformed the French legal system with the Napoleonic Code, which still influences laws around the world today. He also created the Legion of Honor, established public education, and centralized the administrative system, laying the foundations for the modern French state. With his domestic power secure, Napoleon turned his attention to Europe. Over the next decade, he led his Grande Armée to victory after victory, redrawing the map of Europe and spreading the ideals of the French Revolution far and wide. Battles of Austerlitz, Jena, and Wagram cemented his reputation as one of history's greatest military commanders. At the height of his power, Napoleon controlled much of Europe, either through direct rule or by installing family members on various thrones. But this unprecedented success came at a cost. The relentless wars drained France's resources and sowed the seeds of discontent among its allies and subjects. In 1812, Napoleon made the fateful decision to invade Russia. It was supposed to be a swift campaign. The vast distances, brutal winter, and scorched earth tactics of the Russian army turned it into a disaster. The Grande Armée, once 600,000 strong, was decimated by the time it staggered back to France. This catastrophic loss shattered Napoleon's aura of invincibility. His enemies, sensing weakness, formed new coalitions to defeat him. Over the next 2 years, Napoleon's empire began to crumble as his former allies turned against him. By 1814, Napoleon was forced to abdicate and was exiled to the island of Elba in the Mediterranean. But even in exile, he couldn't let go of his dreams. Less than a year later, he escaped from Elba, returned to France, and rallied the nation once more in what became known as the 100 Days. For a brief moment, it seemed as though Napoleon might reclaim his empire, but his enemies were quick to act. The decisive Battle of Waterloo in 1815 marked the end of Napoleon's reign. Defeated, he was exiled again, this time to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic, where he would spend the rest of his days. Napoleon died in 1821, but his legacy lived on. He had reshaped Europe, introduced reforms that would outlast him, and inspired both admiration and fear. To some, he was a tyrant. Others, a visionary who brought order out of chaos. What cannot be denied is that Napoleon Bonaparte changed the course of history. From the Napoleonic Code to the spread of nationalist movements, Napoleon's impact can still be felt today. He remains a towering figure, a man who rose from obscurity to dominate an entire continent, only to be brought down by his own ambition. Love him or hate him, Napoleon Bonaparte's story is one of the most extraordinary in history. It's a tale of ambition, power, and the relentless pursuit of glory, one that will continue to fascinate for generations to come. If you found Napoleon's story as captivating as we do, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history's most intriguing figures. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode.